Shalom. First and foremost, I give all the honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakodash. Double honors and respect to the elders and to the apostles of the great millstone. Peace and blessing to all Akim that are preaching and teaching this word with 100% truth and sincerity. And unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning. And unto the Ba'ath Abadah, the elect house of David that is scattered abroad. I give you my utmost and sincere salutations. Okay, this is going to be a part two to my camp video from Wednesday when I was talking about how it's going to be the Great Depression all over again. Okay, so we're going to read just a little bit of this article here, this page on Wikipedia about the Great Depression, and then we're going to hit a few scripts. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. So it says right here, the Great Depression from 1929 to 1939 was an economic shock that impacted most countries across the world. It was a period of economic depression that became evident that that became evident after a major fall in stock prices in the United States. Okay, the economic contagion began around September and led to the Wall Street stock market crash on October 24th, which is known as Black Thursday. It was the longest, deepest, and most widespread depression of the 20th century. From between 1929 and 1932, worldwide gross domestic product, GDP, fell by an estimated 15%. By comparison, worldwide GDP fell by less than 1% from 2008 to 2000. By comparison, worldwide GDP fell by less than 1% from 2008 to 2009 during the Great Recession. Okay? Some economies started to recover by the mid-1930s. However, in many countries, the negative effects of the Great Depression lasted until the beginning of World War II. Okay? And it says here, devastating effects were seen in both rich and poor countries with falling personal income, prices, tax revenues, and profits. International trade fell by more than 50%. Unemployment in the U.S. rose to 23%, and in some countries rose as high as 33%. Okay? So, let's get into the scripts here. And from what we just read, I'm going to get Ecclesiastes. This is going to be the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, verse 9. And it says, "The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun." All right? And the reason why I brought this script out is because look at where we are at currently. Okay? America's economy is pretty much circling the drain, and the debt ceiling has been raised to 31.4 trillion. And what else? Because of Biden spending billions upon billions of dollars to send to Ukraine for support, as well as let's see. I went all over some details in my camp video, but because of this debt ceiling and the fact that we're losing all this money due to the war effort, a lot of these companies cannot afford to pay their employees, so they lay them off. So there's going to be more job losses, and not only that, but more homeless people. So, in these times, man, more and more people are going to become desperate because they're going to lose everything, and eventually they're going to have nothing, and you know what that's going to resort to. Okay? Just like the Great Depression back in these years, look at where we're at right now. Okay? All right, let me get This is going to be the book of Second Esdras. It's going to be chapter 16. Actually, okay, this is going to be chapter 16. I'm going to start at verse 1 and I'm going to move down. Okay, 2nd Esdras 16 and 1, it says, Woe unto thee, Babylon, aka America, and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Okay, Babylon, we know that's America. Asia, you know, Moab and Ammon. And woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Okay. And look at what's happening right now in Syria after that devastating 7.8 earthquake. Okay. It says here, verse 2: Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children, and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. Verse 3: A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? Okay. Verse 4: A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Verse 5: Plagues are sent unto you. Plagues are sent unto you. And what is he that may drive them away? Okay. So you got a lot of things that are going on right now. But you know the economic downfall is what's mainly taking place. Okay. I'm going to drop down to let's see. I'm going to drop down to verse 18. It says, The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginnings of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What? so that was verse 18. So the beginning of sorrows, which is in hard times, great mournings, you know, the loss of not just your livelihood, but also, you know, the crime rate going up. You know, I think they said last year in 2022, there's been a number of 600 mass shootings, I believe. 600 mass shootings since last year. So how much more this year when things really start popping off? Okay, the beginning of famine and great death. And we're seeing a lot of great death as is. And as far as food shortages go, you know, people, people don't, the establishments, the markets, they don't have they don't have that abundance of supply. In the beginning of wars with Ukraine, Russia, China, Taiwan, Japan, India jumping in, I don't know, Iran is, and all that. Let's see. Okay, this is going to be verse 19. It says, Behold, famine and plague, tribulation, and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. Okay? They're sent for correction because this world is completely out of order and it needs to be corrected with these judgments. Verse 20, But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Verse 21, Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. In verse 23, And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. All right. So, from what I just read right there, right now, even though things are starting to slowly but surely go back up, but as you can see, right now still, there are people that can still afford some things, but, the prices, they're gonna skyrocket eventually. All right, now, let's go right here. It says right here, cities around the world were hit hard, especially those dependent on heavy industry. Construction was virtually halted in many countries. Farming communities and rural areas suffered as crop prices fell by about 60%. Okay? Well, heck, you know, the elites, the ones that are in control of all this, I think they were paying farmers to destroy their crops, if I'm not mistaken. And it says, faced with plummeting demand and few job alternatives, areas dependent on primary sector industry suffered the most. Okay? Economic historians usually consider the catalyst of the Great Depression to be the sudden devastating collapse of the U.S. stock market prices starting on October 24th, 1929. However, some dispute this conclusion, seeing the stock crash less as a cause of the depression and more as a symptom of the rising nervousness of investors, partly due to gradual price declines caused by failing sales of consumer goods as a result of overproduction because of new production techniques, falling exports, and income inequality, among the other factors that had already been underway as part of gradual depression. Okay, now let's take a dive here. So let me get another script here. This is going to be I pulled this out in camp. This is going to be Isaiah chapter 31. Isaiah 31 and 1. And it says, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses and trust in chariots, because and trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong, but they took not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord. Okay? So that right there says, woe unto them that go down to Egypt for help. Destruction to them, or death to them that put their faith and trust in this system. This system is falling, yet people are trying so damn hard to try and rely on it to save it. The elites. This is, ultimately it's the plan of Yahweh Bashim Shai, but he's using these devils to push forward this agenda to crash the system, to bring forth that new system, And a lot of people are just ignorant to the fact that, with what's going on, certain food resources are being wiped out, and prices going up, water shortages, earthquakes, storms, and a whole bunch of other stuff going on. This is that time. All right, and let me get this here. Let me see. Salakia, just give me a second. Economic indicators. Okay. This is okay. So it says this is economic indicators. So it says right here, because the Great Depression began in the United States and then spread around the world, the origins of the Great Depression are examined in the context of the United States economy in the aftermath of World War I. The Roaring Twenties had brought considerable wealth to the United States and Western Europe. Well, because that war is the moneymaker for these bankers. And it said in the year 1921 dawned with considerable economic progress in the American economy. A small stock crash occurred on March 25th, 1929, but the crash was stabilized. Despite signs of economic trouble, the market continued to improve through September. And it says stock prices began to slump in September and were volatile at the end of September. A large sell-off of stocks began in mid-October. Finally, October 24th, Black Thursday, the American stock market crashed 11% at the opening bell. Actions to stabilize the market failed, and on October 28th, Black Monday, the market crashed another 12%. The panic peaked the next day on Black Tuesday, when the market saw another 11% drop. Thousands of investors were ruined, and billions of dollars have been lost. Many stocks cannot be sold at any price. The market recovered 12% on Wednesday, but the damage had been done. Though the market recovered from November 14th until April 17th of 1930, the market entered a prolonged slump from April 17th, 1930 until July 8th of 1932. The market lost 89% of its value. Okay? So that is a major drop. So if you think what we're going through right now is bad, oh no. No. Okay, let me get okay, let me see. Let me second Esdras, the 6th chapter, it's going to be verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouse shall suddenly be found empty. Okay. Like I said, like I just read, there's not going to be, like I said, with these shortages, food, resources, water, and everything else, people are not going to, in fact, I'm just going to keep reading. And it says, verse 23, and verse 23, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. Verse 24, at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. In verse 25, it says, whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation at the end of your world. Okay, so going back to verse 24, I'm going to read, at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies. Yeah, because in that time people were desperate. They had nothing. The only way they could get something is by turning against those that they knew, or their neighbors, to get something. Okay, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. And the springs of the fountain shall stand still. No water. Okay? And this happened, and this was, and this happened around the time, the time that from 1920 to 1939, some of this Great Depression carried on during the time of World War II. Okay, and look at what is going on right now. Another economic crash in the midst of upcoming World War III, the third woe. It's the signs are right there. And it says here, despite the crash, despite the crash, the worst of the crisis did not reverberate around the world until after 1929. The crisis hit panic levels again in December 1930 with a bank run on the Bank of the United States, privately run, no relation to the government, unable to pay out to all of its creditors. The bank failed. Among the 608 American banks that closed in November and December of 1930, the Bank of the United States accounted for a third of the total 550 million deposits lost. And with its closure, bank failures reached a critical mass. And, a lot of these whistleblowers, people of the world that are telling you what's going on, they're telling you, these banks, they're about ready to close on people. And people won't be able to get no money from the bank. They're just if you have money in the bank right now and these banks were to shut down, that's it. That money's gone. It's stuck in there. You ain't getting it out. Okay, so let's see.
Okay, this is going to be Isaiah chapter 33, verse 1. It says, "Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou wast not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled. And when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee."
Okay? So everything that these devils have done, you know, done to not only just the world, but the people, and especially to the Lord's people, it's all, you know, as the scriptures say, you know, as you sow, roughly paraphrasing, what a man soweth, so he shall also reap. Okay? You reap what you sow, Esau, Edom.
In fact, I think, let me see. This is let's see, where was that script? This is okay. This is the book of Haggai, one in one in I'm gonna start at 5, and it says, "Now therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider your ways." Verse 6, "Ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages, and put it in a bag with holes." Okay, so all this building up, you know, being greedy and giving, you know, and only giving little in return, you know, that's Esau, you know, and earns wages and put it in a bag with holes.
You know, that's the thing, you know, especially with Esau, Edom, just greedy, but you know, because of this failing system here, he's trying to do everything he can to hold on to his power. And also this goes into, you know, 2/3 of our own people as well as the other heathens, you know, chasing that bag. But, you know, like I said, if you put it in a bag with holes, you know, it's that greed. You take from others, but you give little in return. You're just selfish. And you know, that's the problem. Put in a bag with holes. I mean, that money, yeah, you stuff in this bag with all that money, but that money is just it's not gonna get you anywhere. All right. And I'm gonna get Matthew here, the 24th chapter, and it says, you know, let's see. Actually, let me get Romans chapter 13. Romans 13 and 14, it says, But put ye on the Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, and make not provision for the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof." Okay, you know, do not make provisions for the flesh. You know, basically saying, you know, don't try to like I said, that it goes into basically, don't try to put your faith in, you know, trying to prep for the work, you know, let's just say prepare for the worst, hope for the best. But, you know, don't be like these preppers that be, you know, doing all this prepping when, you know, the Lord may have it to where you may lose all of that stuff that you prepped for in case, you know, when the time comes of Jacob's trouble. You know, that's why we are to have, like it says, "But put ye on the Lord Yahushua HaMashiach," you know, put on the whole armor of the Most High, which is these scriptures. We don't make provisions for the flesh because it's all going to come to an end. The Lord's going to take it all away anyway. And heck, all that stuff you may buy, it may be preserved for the elect anyway, as the scriptures say, Isaiah 66, "My servant shall eat," roughly paraphrasing.
Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna go back to second Esdras. It's gonna be second Esdras, the fifth. What the hell? Second Esdras, chapter 15. I'll start at Second Esdras 15 and 1. It says, Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the word of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Verse 3, Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. Verse 4, For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Verse 5, Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Okay. Alrighty. So, as I said before, don't make provision for the flesh, because for the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Don't put your faith in anything of this world, man. It's not going to do you any good. It's not going to save you. You could use it for a defense, but ultimately, once it's run out of its use, then you just got to keep it moving. Okay. Now it says here. This is going to be. I'm going to drop down to verse 10, it says, Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. Verse 11, But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Verse 12, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. Okay? And it's, okay, so just like in Egypt in ancient times, it's going to happen again in this time. Okay, now it says right here, dropping down to let's drop down to verse. Drop down to verse 15. It says, For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. Okay, there's going to be not just world war, there's going to be race wars, riots, civil war. In verse 16, For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And, if you've been keeping an eye on the signs of the times, crime rate just slowly but surely keeps increasing. These police are stretched thin. Some police have quit their job saying that it's not worth it anymore because they're tired of it and it's too dangerous. It's not worth risking their life. In verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Okay? So, when things get so out of control, people are going to try and make an escape, but, when martial law kicks in, they're going to have those checkpoints. And you're not going to be able to go anywhere unless you have the what, even if they allow you with that. Or you got to find some way to outsmart them and get by without being seen. I don't know how they're going to do that. But, so, like I said, this is, once again, there is nothing, like I said, you can go into this article and read more, go into this page here and read about it, but, and eventually it's going to get to a point where even the gold standard right here, let's see.
I mean, even though gold and silver is real money, but in the times that we're coming in, that's not going to matter anymore. It should be all out survival. All right. Like I said, this was just. I didn't want to read all of this. It was just a page on the Wikipedia, but I hope that it was edifying to the body and to those that are new coming in, listening and learning with all sincerity. Okay. So I like to give all the honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors and respect to the elders and to the apostle, the great millstone. Peace and blessing to all Akim that are preaching and teaching this word with 100% truth and sincerity. And to the men, women, and children that are listening and learning. And unto the Bayath Adabadah, the elect house of David, that is scattered abroad, I give you my utmost and sincere salutations. Okay? In fact, you know what? Since the Spirit's on me, Salakia, there's one more thing I wanted to get real quick. Salakia on that. Let's see. This is going to be 2nd Esdras, the 14th chapter. And it says, 2nd Esdras chapter 14. 2nd Esdras chapter 14, I'm going to start at verse 13. And it says here, Now therefore, set thine house in order, and reprove thy people, comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. Verse 14, Let go from thee mortal thoughts, and cast away the burdens of man, put off the weak nature, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times. For yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter. Verse 17, For look how much the world shall be weaker through age, so much the more shall evils increase upon them that dwell therein. Okay, so in these times, man, we have to have ourselves in order, have our minds right, get ourselves on the right track, and reprove the people, correct them. And cast aside these mortal thoughts. Being emotional, trying to, trying not to help. The only people that we can really lend a hand to is to the elect and those that are in the faith. Okay, those are the ones that we're going to be looking out for in these troublesome times to come. But everyone else, fuck them. If they're not with Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, fuck them. So we gotta, put off that weak nature and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, like, anything that's troublesome to you in the world that vexes you, you gotta just let it go. Let it go. Everything in this world, let it go, because it's only gonna get worse and worse and worse to the point where you can't really do anything about it. But just have faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. That's pretty much the only thing you can do. Okay, so with that, hope that it was an edifying lesson. I'd like to say Shalom, Barakatham, and see you on the next lesson, Lord willing. Shalom.